Welcome to Was on Wire. Today we're talking about Akmal Saleh's recent powerful statements regarding discipline in Malaysian schools and the resulting fierce debate over policy. You really can't ignore the sense of shock, can you? I mean, it felt like suddenly we were hit with these really awful incidents.
Yeah, horrifying stuff.
Right on school grounds, a stabbing, and then that sexual assault case. It just felt like, wow, where is this coming from? And people wanted answers fast.
And, well, that's exactly the backdrop for Akmal Saleh's comments, isn't it? He didn't just talk about, more security guards or something temporary.
Yeah.
He went straight for the big one, the policy question. Should teachers be allowed to use the Rotan again? Basically, are we reversing that ban?
He put it right out there. His demand was pretty clear. The government needs to review the no cane policy, like now, and restore teachers' authority to use physical discipline. But he stressed strictly for educational reasons. It wasn't just about punishment for him.
No, it was about order. He connected it directly to this feeling of campus disorder.
Exactly. Restoring what he sees as lost authority.
And if you dig into his argument, there's a deeper critique there. He's basically saying this current indiscipline, this disorder, it's because we've been, blindly copying foreign education models.
Western ones, specifically.
Yes, Western models, progressive ideas that maybe don't fit here culturally. He sees it as a fundamental mismatch.
Like trying to plant something in the wrong soil, that kind of idea, cultural mismatch.
Precisely.
Yeah.
That's the core of it.
Yeah.
He thinks just adopting what others do without thinking if it suits our context, our culture, is causing harm.
And he used an example, didn't he, to back that up?
He did, a very specific one, actually. He pointed to the UK.
Ah, right, the United Kingdom.
Yeah, saying, look, these advanced countries, they got rid of traditional discipline ages ago, but are they really doing better? He used their own data against the idea of just importing their methods.
And there was that statistic.
The shocking one.
Yeah.
He cited, 1,664 complaints of sexual harassment.
In primary schools.
In UK primary schools. That number is meant to make you stop and think.
Definitely.
He's basically asking, are these the models we want to follow? If they have problems like this, why are we so eager to adopt their ways? It questions the whole progressive approach we've been leaning towards.
So the argument becomes less about, is the cane good or bad, and more, hold on, is their way actually working?
Exactly. It reframes the whole debate.
Mm-hmm.
And he contrasts it, saying, look, our older system, maybe it wasn't perfect, but it produced, the adults running things today. We shouldn't just throw it all out.
And he brought in the cultural angle more directly, too, didn't he? Connecting it to local values.
Yes, that's a key part of his argument. He mentioned that within Islamic teachings, moderate physical correction, if it's for educational purposes, not out of anger, well, it's permitted.
Okay.
So he's tying the traditional disciplinary approach back to religious and cultural identity, arguing it has a justification here that maybe secular foreign models just don't have.
Which makes it more than just a policy debate, right? It becomes about cultural identity, almost sovereignty.
It really does.
Yeah.
It frames sticking to global trends as potentially compromising something essential here. And the disorder we see, that's maybe the result.
That does raise a tough question, doesn't it? For you listening, too. When policy gets tied up with faith or deep cultural values, how do you even debate it effectively through normal government channels?
It becomes much harder. Akmal is essentially saying the one-size-fits-all approach from elsewhere isn't working for our kids because it ignores who we are.
Okay, but let's be clear. It wasn't only about the Rotan, was it? That got the headlines, but he actually laid out more.
That's crucial, yeah. It's easy to just focus on the cane, but he presented a 4-point plan. It's broader than just punishment. It mixes old and new ideas.
Right, multi-pronged thing. So what are the 4 parts? Let's break them down.
Okay, so first, yes, the central demand. Bring back the authority for teachers to use corporal punishment, educationally. Giving them back that tool, basically. The idea being that maybe current methods like counseling or warnings aren't enough of a deterrent for serious stuff.
But then you immediately think, okay, how do you stop it being abused? That was the whole reason it got restricted in the first place, right?
Absolutely. And the implication is that it would need very strict rules, not just any teacher, anytime. Maybe only designated people, like the principal, for specific serious offenses. Always educational, never, just angry hitting. That distinction is vital.
Okay. But then the second point seems, almost the opposite direction.
It does, doesn't it? The second pillar is mandatory psychological health screening for all students.
Right. Mental wellness.
Which is a big acknowledgement, really. It says maybe some of this violence, this indiscipline, it's not just bad behavior. Maybe there are deeper issues, mental health struggles, trauma.
So hang on. You have point 1. bring back the cane, a clearer punishment. And point two, screen everyone for mental health issues, which is about support and understanding. How do those two sit together? It feels contradictory.
That's the tension, isn't it? It's like the system is saying, we'll punish rule breaking severely, but also, we know you might be hurting, so let's check.
Hmm.
Implementing both effectively, that would be a massive challenge. How do you make sure the punishment part doesn't just cancel out any attempt at therapeutic support? It's a really tricky balance.
Okay, what was the third point? That was more about the physical school environment.
Yes, the third one is about security infrastructure. Basically, more CCTV cameras, a lot more, and other security gear on school campuses.
Makes sense, I suppose. After serious incidents, you need evidence, accountability, and maybe cameras deter things.
That's the idea. Deterrence, plus clear evidence if something awful does happen. A practical response.
And the fourth point, that takes us into the digital world.
Right. The fourth is about stricter regulation of students' internet access and the content they're seeing online. It's recognizing that what happens online, social media, maybe exposure to violence, extreme views, spills over into real life, into school behavior and mental state.
That sounds incredibly difficult to actually do. Regulating kids' internet use, monitoring content. The privacy issues alone are huge, not to mention just the practicalities.
Oh, massively challenging. How do you monitor millions of students online without it becoming total surveillance? Or just impossible logistically? It's a huge ask.
So when you put all four together, the cane, the mental screening, the CCTV, the internet monitoring, it's quite a mix, isn't it?
It really is. It's this blend of old school discipline and very modern tech-heavy control and support. It would be a radical shift if it all got implemented. Huge budget implications, big changes needed at the Ministry of Education.
And just to round it off, he did make sure to mention the victims, right?
Yes. Importantly, he ended by expressing condolences to the families affected by the recent tragedies, and he called on the Royal Malaysian Police to investigate thoroughly to ensure justice is served. For him, this policy push comes from a place of wanting safety and justice.
Okay, so if we boil it down for everyone listening, what are the main takeaways from Datuk Akmal Saleh's statements?
I'd say two things stand out. First, his firm belief that getting rid of corporal punishment directly led to the rise in school disorder and violence we're seeing.
Right, cause and effect, in his view.
And second, his really strong stance that our own cultural context, our values, have to guide education policy. We shouldn't just blindly follow foreign trends, especially if those trends aren't even working perfectly in their own countries.
Which leaves us all with something pretty heavy to think about, doesn't it? When you're facing serious youth violence, where do you put the emphasis?
Exactly. How much weight do you give to traditional discipline authority, deterrence, immediate consequences, versus the modern focus on psychology, wellness, support, understanding the root causes?
Are they fundamentally opposed? Or is Akmal actually suggesting a way, however difficult, to maybe combine them? That's the big question, I think. Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.